In this segment, I wanted to ask you, John, as a small business owner, you've been in business for 5 years. You started from scratch. Can you discuss or share some of your experiences as to when you opened the business, the challenges, the successes, things you learned, maybe things you wish you knew then what you know now? Can you share with us that?
Yeah, there's so much that goes on in a daily, actually hourly, throughout the entire 5 years. So when I first started, I had 0 customers. I actually started without even a laptop going to see clients. I came with a mobile device, and my first client was actually a pet grooming company, and I brought a laptop, I brought my mobile device, and I showed her the importance of how people are searching today on a mobile device. So it was pet grooming in Markham, and they were nowhere to be found. So I actually advised them they needed a new website, and they needed to be found on that first page on the map or below. And I actually received my first check during that time. And it was pretty astonishing because for me, I knew there was value in SEO and people were willing to pay for it, but getting that first client was always, it means so much. And
Sort of breaking the ice, really.
Exactly. So I knew there was a market, there was a need and demand for what I was providing. And what I had to be different on is just being myself, being honest, transparent, being upfront, and letting people know about my journey, my story, and throughout the process of doing all the work and helping them rank and succeed in generating new clients and business, being open, right? And educating new clients, because this market is very, I would say people are solicited on a daily basis via email, via phone calls,
yes,
on a regular business day, on a weekly basis, and business owners aren't sure who to go to, who to trust. People are making so many promises, and they've probably gotten burned from people overseas or even local people that are using black hat techniques or buying links that aren't really, that won't stick, right? So me as a business owner, I needed to understand what was out there, who was doing what on a local scale, and how I can differentiate myself.
Can you speak to I'm going to call it maybe the attitude you had to bring to it? There's positive attitude. I'm sure you can get down because you maybe you're not getting good response, or maybe challenges to as you mentioned just a minute ago, they're inundated weekly with people calling from around the world, offering all sorts of guarantees and all sorts of things. What attitude did you have to bring to this new business for success?
So I had to call up, make a lot of phone calls, and that initial 5 to 10 seconds, you had to connect with business owners. And to be different, I had to offer something that was more compelling than all the other people that were making calls. So instead of guaranteeing anything, I was giving advice. I was letting them know some of the issues they were having by doing a little research before making that call, looking on their website to see what they have done, where they need to be, and what we can do to help them get to where they want to be.
How did you stay positive day in, day out? Any tips and tricks there?
Staying motivated myself. I'm very passionate. I have a very strong willpower and drive. So when I have goals that I want to achieve, I tend to try to do it. That means working longer hours, trying to educate myself as much as possible in the industry, and surrounding myself with positive people, right? And reading as much as I can, blogs, books, whatever it may be. The more information I have, the more information I can provide to my potential clients.
How about 5 years down the road and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of clients now? What do you wish you knew then that you know now?
Looking for, I guess at the beginning I was taking on any client that I can sign on. And what I've learned is it doesn't really matter who approaches you, you need to do as much due diligence as they are doing due diligence on you as a business owner. Because I found that there's a lot of business owners out there that you do a lot of work for them and they will not pay you. or you know, they say they're X amount of size and they've been spending all this amount, yet in reality they aren't doing as much as they say they are. So when someone's doing due diligence on myself by looking at the reviews, calling references, I'm also doing that on their business, so that I am partnering with people that I feel that has the same values and commitment, because it is a relationship that goes twofold. They're providing me as much access to their website and back end, so there's that trust that they're giving me, but they also want me to help them build their business, right?
And in the early days, when you're starting at ground zero, you're looking for customers. But I guess as time goes by, you now have the luxury maybe of looking at a client and say, is this a good fit that I can help them, that I want to work with them? But early days, I imagine it was, you could maybe talk about that, reaching out and just trying to find clients that needed the service that you wanted to work with.
Yes. So again, as years gone by, you learn as a business owner who your ideal customer is. Ones that are professionals, that are reliant on the website to generate leads. There's companies out there that they don't really understand the whole space. So you do need to handhold them a little bit more, educate them on the entire process, and you might even have to manage them more upfront, which is they might need help with email, they might need help with providing that website so that it is easy for people to convert to, right? So educating on that front.
Sure.
Right? So as the years gone by, looking at companies that are a good fit and making sure that they are in line with my commitment and mission and goal, and ones that will not just pay, be able to pay, but our commitment on our back-end team is to commit on helping them deliver on the results. So forming a team that is committed on two fronts, helping a client and also making sure that we all work together as a team, is very important.
For other new entrepreneurs, and this is still a young company, 5 years, but there's a new entrepreneurs probably going to see this. Could you speak to bootstrapping, how you would define it, what it involves, and maybe if you could even share some experiences of what some people think bootstrapping is versus what really it means. Can you talk about that?
So I definitely bootstrapped this company when I first started. I didn't even have a laptop. So I had a mobile device, and that's when I first went and solicited business owners and let them know what I had to provide. So basically making calls. I was at home working. I first started off as a mailbox in one of those UPS stores.
Yes, sure.
And basically ran a business as a sole proprietor. So I didn't incorporate until 6 months into my company, where I knew that there was actual business. So before I commit into a lawyer and incorporating and do my proper taxes, I needed to make sure that there was substantial revenue to be made. Even my back end. So I only started with an SEO manager. And basically I learned from him when I first started, and I grew from there, that one person can't do everything, so you needed a team, and I pretty much invested on my back end for the first couple of years before I started paying myself. So
really it's on a shoestring. You're watching costs, you're watching every dollar that goes out, trying to build revenue.
Yes, I did everything myself. So for me, it was, I didn't have money for a bookkeeper. I didn't have a lot of staff for sales. I didn't have a lot of back-end people, so I bought a lot of software. And it was more of a trial and error and trying to figure out what kind of results those software were really getting versus a manual person, hiring them and doing it on a regular basis.
Sure.
you get much more control when you have people doing the actual work than automating processes. So when you have software, you're not going to get, I guess, the best result from it because it's automated. So there's a lot of errors that occur, but when you're in full control, you get to see what really goes on and you can check on things.
Describe bootstrapping in terms of going out there and making personal contact with people to generate interest in your business.
So at the beginning, I didn't have money, so I couldn't purchase traditional means of trying to get myself known, which is flyers, magazines, newspapers, trade shows, sales reps.
Yes.
I was it. I was pretty much the face of the company,
Yeah.
and the sales rep, account management, bookkeeper, accountant, you name it. I did everything, right? And honestly, at the beginning, I had a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of customers, so I was making 100 phone calls a day, spending that time cultivating leads, building a funnel. I was going out there building relationships, meeting a lot of business owners, going for coffees, going to networking meetings. And I found that the more you're out there, the more you're going to get in return. If you're sitting behind the office waiting for things to happen, nothing will actually happen. So the more you're present, and people know that you're passionate and you want to do good, and you want to expand your business and you want to help others, that becomes more impactful, and people are willing to take on you as a new customer and try you out because they've had multiple other scenarios where the experiences were bad, the results were not the greatest. Whatever it may be, people have gone through challenges. No one's really content and happy with their existing provider until you prove to them that something like this does exist.
Sure.
Right? And once I had those new clients, now I had to prove that I had to deliver on my promise. So, which meant I had to make sure my back end was ready for fulfilling all the promises I made.
When you're mentioning in terms of this personal contact and reaching out there, it is probably, for a lot of people watching today, it's not their nature to be able to go out and promote themselves and introduce themselves. It feels uncomfortable. So maybe you could speak to breaking through that, because a lot of people would go, I couldn't do that. In fact, as an entrepreneur, if you're going to run your business and grow your business, you were in charge of everything. You were chief cook, bottle washer, and you were the sales division. So whether you wanted to or not, talk to what it means in the positive aspects of doing it all, learning by mistakes and mistakes you've made, and learning the business from there.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, I had a story. I was going through a lot personally. I left my job, comfortable job, where I was, getting paid fairly well. I just recently got married, and I recently moved into a city with my wife. So I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I didn't have any income. So there were a lot of motivational drivers on me to actually do good and make this work, because in my culture, in my family, I wanted to be the sole provider and help out as much as I can in terms of financially for my family. So for me, there was a why. There was a reason, motivation, and it really helped me get through it all, get through all the distractions and the noise, I would say, because I spent 16, 18-hour days, 6 days a week, 7 days sometimes. Didn't really go out with my friends, and while they were out, going on clubbing or drinking in bars and sporting events, I didn't have that luxury because I had to make this work. I left a job, and I wanted to make sure that whatever I'm going to do, I do the best I can. So people don't see that at this stage of my career in business, because they only see what's happening now. Everyone wants to get to this point, but even before that 16, 18-hour days building a business, leading up to why I started a company, I was trying to be really good at what I was doing, which was sales and marketing, right? So to get good at sales and marketing, I went to a lot of schooling. I did a lot of reading up on blogs and going to a lot of workshops, just learning the skill set on how to become a successful salesperson and entrepreneur, right? So for me, that all translated to really my ultimate, which is being the owner of my own boss and running a business I want to run the way I want to run it, and managing a team of people that I feel that's most comfortable and the right fit for the company I'm trying to build, and the type of clients that I ultimately want to have as a business.
In terms of final thoughts or advice for somebody who's opening and starting a new business, I think they've probably seen just in your statements when you talk about the long hours you put in, the commitment, the drive, the passion you have for it. Any other pieces of advice you could give somebody who's going to be starting their own business?
You gotta follow your passion, enjoy what you do, really have core values, right? And really understand what your ultimate mission or goal is, because ultimately you live your own life. Everyone has a reason of why they're doing certain things. It could be financial reasons, it could be to purchase X amount or go on a trip of a lifetime, or to fulfill their dreams of ensuring their family has enough for their future or build a legacy for yourself, right? So you have to understand why you're doing this and put together a plan. Figure out what would you be satisfied if you were to hit that milestone, and then make sure you have certain goals and targets every year, every 3 years, 5 years, and even ultimately 20 years, right? So you need to make sure that you have these goals so that you can actually work towards it, and really do what you love and be passionate about. So when I talk to entrepreneurs, and I'm actually a mentor to a lot of the York region entrepreneurs, I let them know, like, nothing's easy. You have to really put in that time and effort, and really understand who you're marketing to, and people actually have to believe in you. You are the ultimate salesperson. If you don't believe in yourself, you cannot sell or try to offer that product or service that you're offering. So you have to have true passion in terms of offering something that you believe in, right? And ultimately, where I'm at today is a better position than I was 5 years ago, but I'm only touching the surface, because ultimately I have 20 years that I really want to grow this company and do good for the community and helping entrepreneurs and helping people in need. So there's a lot of initiatives that I'm planning, and I look forward to it for many more years.
Great tips and tricks.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, John.